for the conclusion of the case line for the primary speech on the government side. Now, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Muhammad Aiman Sabeh bin Muhammad Syahid from the opposition side to conclude the primary speech.
How much are we realizing about the effects of media? I feel today that the government is not actually considering the effects at all. Today, we do realize that at some point, this new media is affecting us in a bad way. But we're just ignorant. The government is just ignorant that it's been a part of their lives for so long. Today, we've seen how this new media is controlling and altering human life, not in a bad way, not in a good way, but in a bad way. We're not unified at all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very pleasant morning I've been to meet members of this honorable house. On the motion today, this house believes that the new media unites the world. As the third speaker of the opposition side, my speech for today shall come in two phases. Today I'll bring to you the comparative analysis between the cases of the government side and our side for today, and then moving on to my second phase, which is rebutting all the issues that have been brought up by the government case. But let's now move on to the comparative analysis. I'll first show to you how their setup case for today is a flaw in two levels of analysis. Let's start with their stand for today, the first level, on how they're saying that their stand, new media, is uniting the world because it's promoting higher sense of connectivity, it's making people more understanding. But they fail to actually show a link between how economical, social and political aspects, the affecting of these aspects is actually making people more understanding itself. They fail to show that link in today's debate on how they fail to show in the current status quo is the new media affecting and uniting us. They fail to actually convince us that in the current status quo, the new media that is existing is actually affecting and uniting the world. Convince us that way, then talk. Government side, sit down, sir. But let's move on to the second contention on how are their case actually answering the motion today. It's just getting interesting. On how the motion goes, new media is unites the world. It's a present tense, not a future tense. On how they fail to actually understand the tense of the motion today. On how it's not their burden, but actually show to us, is it going to unite the world? Their burden was to show it is uniting the world in the current situation today. On how new media is actually existing in the current status quo. Is the new media currently the current status quo uniting the world? We are prepared to show to you that this new media is not actually unifying the world, but they just came up to us and brought up a probable case how this new media is probably and can unite the world. They failed to understand the tense, so that English was a flaw in the first place. Sit down, sir. And how this government for today failed to actually show to us that the new media and convince us that this new media is uniting the world. They failed in the first level. But let's compare it to our case and how we've proven to you through our case that this new media is not uniting the world because we are focusing on what are the main issues that is dividing us in the first place. We've shown to you these three indicators how it's dividing. On the first phase, the political differences. On the second phase, economical capacity, and the third phase, mindset of society. They fail to show that these three things that are dividing the society today is actually being negated by the new media itself. And we've further shown to you how we question the feasibility and the accessibility of this new media itself. Is this new media accessible throughout the world, thus uniting the world? No. We've shown to you. Have you heard about the country Djibouti or the Liberia, majority of Comoros? They have 0.0% of internet internet connectivity, thus showing to you at the first place this new media, which is lacking in accessibility, which is lacking in feasibility, is not achieving and will not unite the world, and is not in the current status quo today. Before that,
First of all, sir, as a gentleman, integrated school given English, because the motion states today that it unites the world, has proven to you that future tense is also taken into consideration as well as the current status quo. And that without new media, sharing of common interest and understanding of cultural difference do not occur. Thank you.
So before that, let's focus on the tenses back. Let's see on how this new media unites the world. Of course, we're actually considering the reality in this situation, the issue behind the motion today. On how the issue is whether or not this new media is uniting the current status quo. We cannot have a probable case. We cannot just assume that this new media is going to actually unite the world. We're standing on the debate today to focus the current status quo of the country, of the world today, not a probable effect and the probable effect of this new media in uniting. So fail to show that their case and setup still stands. But let's move on to our case for today. On how we've shown to you, sit down sir, on how we've shown to you that this accessibility and feasibility of this new media is actually making the media lacking in uniting the world itself. And how we're not saying that it promotes world peace, but we're saying that is this understanding, is this sharing of common interest really the thing and the main priority of having unity itself? Is the sharing of interest, the sharing of information creating unity? They fail to show a link, and I'll show you that there is no link. On how we see that just having a common interest, just having exchanging ideas is not creating unity itself. On how the Western countries are actually sharing one opinion that Islam is bad, Islamophobia, but does that actually show to us that it is actually uniting the world? No, it is creating fractions in the society itself. It is never uniting the world itself. We see on how the third speaker of the government is conceding with me today, on how he's shown to you that it's creating different opinion on different opinion and new media. That's showing to you that it's creating fraction in the society. There are no one ideology, and how they're opening floodgates for people to actually exclaim something and having different ideologies. The first speaker said that in having unity, we need to have one ideology, one perspective. But the third speaker said that this new media is having different perspectives. So we see the contradiction between the first and the third speaker in that aspect itself. But let's move on to the rebuttals of issues. Let's see their main branches: economical, social, and politics itself. Let's focus on economic. How they say that this new media increases economy, thus the world will be more united. We actually have trade with Israel itself, but we're still not united with them. Why? Because we're seeing the three indicators of this new media. Is it actually answering this political difference, economical capacity, and the mindset of society at one time? No, because if there is a lack of any one of these aspects, there will never be unity in a nation itself. That's proving to you that the government is not actually having this unity and not going to have that these three aspects that we brought up is actually answered in their debate for today. The third speaker actually brought up to us contradiction. They say that this media has advantages and disadvantages, but we're prepared and we've done just that in showing that this new media, their acid is more than the alkali itself. That is not a neutral thing, whereas the disadvantages actually overweigh the advantages itself. With that, we've proven to you that this new media in the current status quo is not answering and not unifying the world at all. With that, I beg to oppose.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aiman for his very mind-interrogating arguments that created as a little bit of stir.